Welcome to Zero to One, a journey into the heart of innovation and entrepreneurship. In this video, we'll explore Peter Thiel's groundbreaking ideas on building the future, not by copying what already exists, but by creating something entirely new. Thiel argues that every moment in business happens only once, and true progress comes from moving from zero to one, making the leap from nothing to something unique. We'll uncover why copying others only takes us from 1 to n, and why the act of creation is singular and transformative. Join us as we dive into the mindset and strategies that have shaped some of the world's most successful startups. Peter Thiel begins by posing a tough question. What important truth do very few people agree with you on? This question isn't just about being different for the sake of it, it's about uncovering hidden opportunities and seeing the world in a new way. Thiel believes that the future is defined by change, and that real progress means making the world look different from today. If nothing changes, the future is always far away. But if we innovate, the future is close at hand. The challenge is to find those contrarian truths that can shape tomorrow. Let's see how this mindset sets the stage for breakthrough innovation. Thiel introduces two types of progress: horizontal and vertical. Horizontal progress or globalization means copying things that work, going from 1 to n. Think of building more railroads or spreading existing technologies worldwide. Vertical progress, on the other hand, is about doing new things, going from 0 to 1. It's the leap from typewriters to word processors, from old ways to new inventions. While globalization spreads what already exists, technology creates what never existed before. Understanding this distinction is key to building companies that truly innovate. Many believe the future will be defined by globalization, but Thiel argues that technology is far more important. Without new technology, simply spreading old methods leads to environmental and economic dead ends. For example, if developing countries only copy existing industrial models, they risk catastrophic pollution and resource depletion. Only through technological innovation can we create sustainable growth and solve the world's biggest challenges. Thiel's contrarian answer: technology, not globalization, will define the future. New technology rarely comes from big organizations or lone geniuses. It's startups that drive innovation. Startups are small enough to think differently, yet large enough to get things done. They bring together people with a shared mission to build a different future. Thiel emphasizes that startups must question received ideas and rethink business from scratch. It's this combination of new thinking and focused teamwork that allows startups to create breakthroughs. The late 1990s saw a frenzy of internet startups, with money flowing freely and optimism running high. Companies raced to launch, often prioritizing growth over profits. The dot-com mania was intense but short-lived, peaking in March 2000 before crashing dramatically. Thiel recounts how PayPal navigated this environment, using bold customer acquisition strategies and raising funds just before the bubble burst. The lessons from this era continue to shape how entrepreneurs think about risk, growth, and sustainability. After the crash, entrepreneurs learned 4 big lessons: make incremental advances, stay lean and flexible, improve on the competition, and focus on product over sales. These became dogma in the startup world. However, Thiel challenges these ideas, suggesting that boldness, planning, and sales are just as important as product development. The key is to think for yourself and not be trapped by reactions to past mistakes. True innovation requires questioning conventional wisdom. Thiel adapts Tolstoy's famous line, "All happy companies are different. Each successful business earns a monopoly by solving a unique problem." In contrast, failed companies are alike: they fail to escape competition. Creating value isn't enough, you must also capture value. Thiel compares airlines, which create massive value but capture little, to Google, which captures far more value by standing alone. The lesson: don't build an undifferentiated commodity business, strive for monopoly. Economists describe two extremes: perfect competition and monopoly. In perfect competition, no company makes an economic profit in the long run. Monopolies, on the other hand, own their markets and set their own prices. Thiel clarifies that the kind of monopoly he advocates is not about crushing rivals or securing government favors, but about being so good at what you do that no one else can offer a close substitute. This is the foundation of lasting business success. Both monopolists and competitors distort the truth about their market positions. Monopolists downplay their dominance to avoid scrutiny, while competitors exaggerate their uniqueness to attract attention. Thiel uses Google as an example. Depending on how you define its market, Google can appear as a dominant monopoly or a small player. Startups often make the mistake of defining their market too narrowly, convincing themselves they have no competition. The reality is usually more complex. Competition isn't just about lower profits, it can drive people to ruthlessness and short-term thinking. In highly competitive industries like restaurants, survival often means squeezing every efficiency and sacrificing long-term planning. In contrast, monopolies like Google can afford to care about ethics, employees, and the broader impact of their work. Monopoly profits enable companies to think long-term and invest in innovation, while competition forces a focus on immediate survival. Monopolies aren't just good for the companies that hold them, they drive progress for society as a whole. Creative monopolies add new abundance to the world, offering customers more choices and enabling long-term investment in research and development. The promise of monopoly profits incentivizes innovation, and history shows that new monopolies replace old ones, pushing society forward. In a dynamic world, monopoly is the condition of every successful business. Competition is more than an economic reality. It's an ideology that shapes how we think and act. Our educational system reinforces competition through grades and standardized paths, pushing students to conform rather than create. In business, competition is often compared to war, with companies and individuals fixated on rivals instead of focusing on unique value. Thiel warns that rivalry can distract us from what truly matters and lead to destructive, zero-sum battles. Rivalry can lead to wasted energy and missed opportunities. Thiel illustrates this with stories from Silicon Valley, where companies became obsessed with defeating each other instead of creating something new. Sometimes merging with a rival is better than fighting a costly war. The lesson: avoid unnecessary battles and focus on building unique value. True greatness comes from pursuing meaningful goals, not from endless competition. Escaping competition is only valuable if your monopoly can endure. Thiel introduces the concept of last mover advantage, being the company that makes the final decisive innovation in a market and enjoys years of monopoly profits. The value of a business lies in its future cash flows, not just current growth. Technology companies often lose money early on, but their long-term potential is what makes them valuable. The goal is to build something that lasts. What makes a monopoly durable? Thiel identifies 4 key characteristics: proprietary technology, network effects, economies of scale, and strong branding. Proprietary technology makes your product hard to replicate. Network effects make your product more valuable as more people use it. Economies of scale lower costs as you grow. Branding creates a unique identity that customers trust. These elements combine to create lasting market power. Proprietary technology is the most powerful advantage a company can have. It makes your product difficult or impossible to copy. Thiel suggests that to achieve a real monopolistic edge, your technology should be at least 10 times better than the closest substitute. This could mean inventing something entirely new or radically improving an existing solution. Companies like Google and Amazon achieved dominance by offering quantum improvements over their competitors. Network effects make a product more valuable as more people use it. Social networks like Facebook are classic examples. Each new user increases the value for everyone else. However, network effects only work if your product is valuable to its first users, even when the network is small. Successful network businesses often start with a narrow, focused market before expanding. Economies of scale mean that as your business grows, your costs per unit decrease. This is especially powerful in software where the cost of producing another copy is almost zero. Not all businesses can achieve this. Service businesses, for example, have natural limits. The best startups are designed to scale from the very beginning, allowing them to serve millions of customers efficiently. A strong brand can be a powerful form of monopoly. Apple is a prime example. Its brand is synonymous with quality, innovation, and design. However, branding alone isn't enough. It must be supported by real technological and operational advantages. Without substance, even the best branding can't sustain a monopoly. Every startup begins small. Thiel advises entrepreneurs to start with a tiny market they can dominate rather than chasing a small share of a huge market. It's easier to become the leader in a niche and then expand outward. PayPal, for example, found early success by focusing on eBay power sellers before growing to a broader audience. The lesson: start small, win big. Once you've dominated a niche, expand into adjacent markets. Amazon started with books, then moved to CDs, videos, and eventually everything. Sequencing your markets correctly is crucial. Expand too quickly and you risk losing focus. Expand too slowly and you miss opportunities. The most successful companies make this progression part of their founding narrative. Silicon Valley loves the idea of disruption, but Thiel warns that focusing on disruption can be a trap. If your company is defined by opposition to incumbents, it's not truly new. Instead, focus on creating something original. PayPal, for example, expanded the market for payments rather than directly challenging Visa. The goal is to avoid competition and create new value, not just disrupt old industries. Being first to market isn't always an advantage. What matters is being the last mover, the company that makes the final defining innovation in a market. This allows you to enjoy monopoly profits for years to come. Focus on building something that endures rather than just being first. Study the end game and plan for long-term dominance. Is success in business a matter of luck or skill? While many successful people attribute their achievements to luck, Thiel argues that planning and design play a much bigger role. Serial entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk show that success can be repeated. If you believe everything is luck, there's no point in learning or trying, but if you believe in design, you can shape your own future. Thiel distinguishes between definite and indefinite attitudes toward the future. A definite optimist believes the future will be better and works to make it happen. An indefinite optimist expects improvement but has no concrete plans. Definite pessimists prepare for a bleak future, while indefinite pessimists expect decline but don't know what to do. Thiel argues that definite optimism, planning and building for a better future, is the mindset that drives real progress. Today, indefinite optimism dominates American thinking. People expect the future to be better but don't make specific plans. This attitude is reflected in finance, politics, and even philosophy. Instead of building new things, people rearrange what already exists, focusing on process over substance. Thiel warns that without definite plans, progress becomes unsustainable and society risks stagnation. Finance epitomizes indefinite thinking. Instead of investing in new projects, companies and individuals focus on diversification and keeping options open. Money becomes an end in itself rather than a means to build something new. Thiel points out that in an indefinite world, nobody knows what to do with money in the real economy, leading to a cycle of inaction and missed opportunities. Modern politics is shaped by indefinite thinking. Politicians focus on short-term public opinion and process, rather than making bold plans for the future. Government spending is dominated by entitlements and transfer payments, rather than investments in new projects. Thiel argues that this shift has made it harder to solve big problems and build a better future. Philosophers like John Rawls and Robert Nozick represent the shift to indefinite optimism. Unlike earlier thinkers who had concrete visions for the future, modern philosophers focus on process and fairness without specific goals. Thiel suggests that this attitude has permeated politics, business, and society, making it harder to pursue ambitious plans. In the past, people sought to conquer death and extend life. Today, we focus on managing risk and probability rather than seeking breakthroughs. In biotechnology, research often relies on random experimentation rather than definite theories. Thiel questions whether this indefinite approach is holding back progress in fields like medicine and life extension. Thiel argues that indefinite optimism is inherently unsustainable. Without concrete plans, progress can't continue indefinitely. Evolution may work in biology, but in business and society, intelligent design, deliberate planning, and action produces better results. Lean startups and iterative approaches can lead to local improvements, but bold plans are needed for transformative change. Great entrepreneurs are designers not just of products but of businesses. Steve Jobs exemplified this approach, creating multi-year plans and executing them with precision. Thiel emphasizes that long-term planning is undervalued in today's short-term world. Companies with clear, definite plans are often underrated, but they are the ones that change the world. Thiel's core message is that you are not a lottery ticket. Success is not just a matter of luck, it's about having agency and making deliberate choices. Startups are the largest endeavors over which you can have definite mastery. By rejecting the tyranny of chance and embracing design, you can shape your own destiny and build something truly new. Thiel advocates for first principles thinking, breaking problems down to their fundamental truths and reasoning up from there. This approach allows entrepreneurs to find value in unexpected places and avoid the trap of copying others. By questioning assumptions and starting from scratch, you can discover new opportunities and create lasting value. Long-term planning is essential for building enduring companies. Thiel points out that measurement mania, obsessing over short-term metrics, can distract from deeper, qualitative challenges. The most valuable companies are those that plan for the future, investing in innovation and building durable advantages. Thiel warns against following the crowd, especially in business. Conventional wisdom often leads to dead ends, while true innovation comes from independent thinking. The most contrarian thing you can do is to think for yourself, question assumptions, and pursue your own vision, even when it goes against popular opinion. Creating value is only half the battle. You must also capture some of that value to build a successful business. Thiel uses the example of airlines versus Google to illustrate this point. While airlines create massive value for society, they capture very little for themselves. In contrast, Google captures a significant share of the value it creates, making it far more profitable. How you define your market shapes your strategy. Monopolists frame their market broadly to appear less dominant, while competitors define theirs narrowly to seem unique. Thiel encourages entrepreneurs to be honest about their market and competition and to focus on building real, defensible advantages. Creative monopolies don't just benefit their owners, they drive progress for everyone. By creating new categories and abundance, they expand choices and improve society. Thiel argues that the history of progress is a history of better monopoly businesses replacing incumbents, fueling innovation and growth. Imitative competition can lead to wasted resources and missed opportunities. Thiel gives examples from the tech world, where companies obsessed over defeating rivals rather than creating something new. The lesson: focus on innovation, not imitation, and avoid battles that don't create real value. Successful companies sequence their markets carefully, starting with a niche and expanding gradually. Amazon's progression from books to a general store is a classic example. Thiel emphasizes that expanding too quickly or too slowly can be risky. Timing and strategy are everything. The central theme of Thiel's philosophy is moving from zero to one, creating something entirely new. This act of creation is what sets successful startups apart. It requires courage, vision, and the willingness to think differently. By focusing on unique solutions and first principles, entrepreneurs can build the future. To build the future, entrepreneurs must embrace boldness, long-term planning, and independent thinking. Thiel's 0 to 1 challenges us to reject the comfort of imitation and the tyranny of chance. By focusing on unique value, durable advantages, and deliberate design, we can create companies and a world that are truly new. The future belongs to those who dare to go from 0 to 1. As we conclude, remember that every great company and every great innovation starts with a single step from 0 to 1. The journey requires vision, courage, and the willingness to challenge conventional wisdom. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a student, or simply someone who wants to make a difference, the principles of 0 to 1 can guide you toward building something truly extraordinary. The future is yours to create.